Hello. 5-year review of the MT-07, here we go. I'm switching out my typical motovlog setup, filming with the X5. That's the camera looking back at me, and then the point of view camera is the Ace Pro 2 with a wireless mic. I got Insta360's new mic Air. I want to do a quick little walk around of the bike before we head out, because it's been 3 years probably since I've done one of these reviews. I did a 2-year MT-07 owner's review, and now we're here at the 5-year mark. I bought this bike in 2020, probably around August. It is August now. I think you can probably guess just by the fact that I'm able to do a 5-year review that I don't hate this bike. One thing I want to point out, this bike is not stock. It's got lots of modifications on it that make it ride differently than the stock 2019 MT-07. So one of the biggest upgrades is the suspension. We've got the K-Tech Razor rear shock, and then we have an Akrapovic exhaust on it, and the front forks, the Öhlins Nix cartridge kit, so fully adjustable forks. So this is a track setup. The suspension is pretty stiff, and when I go over potholes, I can feel it. My thoughts on the suspension haven't really changed since my initial 2-year review, so if you were wondering about it, yes, it is stiff. It is excellent for the track. It gives me excellent stability. If I go over a speed bump, I feel like my rear tire barely leaves the ground. So it's great for stability, but not super great in terms of long distance riding. It's not super comfortable. The other modification is the Woodcraft clip-ons. These are, well, they're clip-ons, and they're, I think, the 2-inch ones. So typically the regular handlebars on the MT-07 would be somewhere around here, giving you a much more upright seating position. But here, I'll just demonstrate. Let's turn this camera on. If you see, this is how you are with clip-ons, and then whereas otherwise you would be kind of like up here. So much more aggressive seating position, much more track oriented. Let's see how many total miles I have on Spicy Boy. All right, almost at 21,000 miles on Spicy Boy. Spicy Boy is my MT-07's name. If you want to see my progression with this bike, I do have a couple of videos, and I'll leave those linked at the end or in the cards here for you to watch. But all right, let's see, before we take off, any other modifications I'm forgetting? Some cosmetic stuff like the grips. The Vans grips I put on because of the vibrations. They provide a little more comfort. We've got frame sliders. The turn signals are not the original ones. These are bendy, which I like because if you drop the bike, which I have done, they don't break. Levers, that say MT-07 on them, you can find these bad boys literally on eBay. Other cosmetic mod is seat cover by Louis Moto. People ask me if this is the stock seat. It is the stock seat underneath. It's just a cover on top. It's a little bit sun faded. It's been 5 years. These are also some tank grips, also by Louis Moto. The tires that I have on him are the stock like size. I haven't changed that at all. They're the Pirelli Angel GTs. I think I'm going to end up changing them out for like the Conti Road Attack, but I might save that until I go do another track day. They've got some life left in them. I forgot to mention this. This doesn't really count as a mod, but on the frame of the bike, I've put another mount here that I can put a selfie stick on, extend it out, mount the 360 to it, and then I can get like nice rolling shots of myself riding the MT. I'll insert a clip of what that looks like here. I like that you can see the entire bike, me riding, and the scenery around it. So there's definitely an advantage to using a 360 camera both as a 360 camera and having it be able to be used in single lens mode and just easily switch back and forth between them. Gives me some more versatility, and I like that. All right. Boom, boom. Yeah, can't believe it's been 5 years since I've had this bike. I mean, I think at this point this bike is there's going to be no third owner of this bike. I'm the second owner, by the way. Yeah, the first guy bought it in 2019, sold it to me in 2020, and I've had it since then. I have very little things to criticize about the MT-07. I feel like it's one of Yamaha's top-selling motorcycles for a reason. There are some comfort features I would like to have on this bike. That would be nice. For cruise control would be a nice thing to have. If I was to sell this bike, I feel like I would just buy another MT-07, like a newer version of him. But the same thoughts that I remember having for my 2-year owner's review of this bike is kind of like the same way I feel about it now. I think the Akrapovic exhaust on it is the best exhaust you could possibly put on this bike. It sounds so amazing. It doesn't sound deafeningly loud. It sounds like a refined roar. It's not stock. I really can't complain. I've had people asking me, why don't I upgrade? to an MT-09 or something, or an MT-10, and I was like, why would I downgrade to an MT-09 or an MT-10? The MT-07 is the peak motorcycle in the MT line. Nothing beats the sound, in my opinion. Nothing beats a Jet 2 Holiday, except, like, for real. This bike sounds amazing. It's got just enough power for the type of hooligan riding that I do, which is not very hooligan at all. Oh my god, I thought this was my dad for a second, because he has a Mazda hatchback just like this one, but it is not. That would be funny though. I can do highway speeds on it, no problem. I've never felt like I was not keeping up with somebody on this bike, except for when we did like a group ride and everybody had 1,000 cc's sport bikes on this ride. I'm not sure how well this microphone captures the exhaust sound, but let's see if I can get some exhaust sounds for you. I remember in my two-year review of him that I mentioned I thought at the time I was moving up from a Ninja 250 to this, and one of the things I noticed was how quickly my gas tank gets empty. I don't know that that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed, but I think my perception of how long it takes me to empty the gas tank has. So I haven't been on a 250 in a while to look at the gas on that. I got a lot of questions about would I ever want to do a cross-country trip on the MT-07, and the wholehearted answer to that is no. And you can probably tell because I did a whole video trailering him. I bought a trailer just to take this bike down to Florida to ride it around there. I would not want to do that trip to Florida on this bike. Although I will say the guy that had it before me did do a trip to Florida and back on this bike. So it is doable, it's just not comfortable. I don't know why you would want to do that to yourself. There are way better bikes that if your intention is to take a long distance trip, you could use those bikes instead. Now you can definitely buy an MT-07 and convert it to make it way more comfortable for long distance, including putting a windscreen on that's bigger than this, because this does nothing. It's purely for aesthetics. What about that sound, guys? So good. I mentioned earlier that there's some features that I wish this bike had. One of them is throttle control. Right now what I kind of do to help me out, this is not throttle control, but it's like a wrist rest, a wrist rest, so that I can still control the throttle even if my hand is on it, like you see right here. Hold on, let me just pay attention for a second. I mean, the curves aren't the best time to explain this to you. One of the reasons that I mentioned this is because I noticed when I do ride for about an hour at a time or longer, the vibrations in the handlebars, despite me having like pretty thick rubbery grips on them, they don't fully absorb all the vibrations that come through the handlebars. And this bike vibrates a lot. It is not a smooth ride. It's one of the things I mentioned whenever I get on a Triumph is how smooth and buttery smooth those rides feel. This is not one of those things. And the vibrations come through in the handlebars, and it causes my arm to go numb after a while. You just start losing feeling in your upper arm here and in your fingertips, and that is from that constant vibration. For a while I actually thought it was my jacket that was causing that, like my Revit leather jacket plus the backpack strap here, like constricting whatever blood vessel runs through here and causing my arm to get that like numb sensation, that ants tiki static sensation. But no, it's just the vibrations in the handlebar, and it is worse on the side with the exhaust. So this is one point against riding an MT-07 for a really long period of time. Don't take it for a long distance ride, I would say. I'm curious to see though if that has changed at all on the 2025 version. I'm not sure if anybody else has had that complaint about one of these older models, but I'd be curious to find that out. Oh my goodness, so nice. Let me not freak this car out. I remember when I was doing, I think either the intermediate or one of the advanced total control courses on this bike, one of the instructors asked me if he could use my bike to demo one of the exercises, because he was thinking about buying an MT-07 and he wanted this exact setup that I have on it. So the Akrapovic exhaust, the K-Tech Razor shock, the old Nix cartridge kit for the fork. He did the exercise on my bike. It was great. He scrubbed my tires for me because I could never get that low at that point in time on it, so I was happy. But when he finished the exercise, he was like, "Oh my God, this is the bike that I should have gotten instead of like whatever he had at the time." And like, dang, I kind of regret that I didn't do it. It just felt great. So I guess if you want to take this bike to the track, you can do the setup on it and it will be pretty nice for you. In terms of height, I mentioned before in my videos, I'm 5'4", and this bike I think fits me pretty well. If you're shorter than this, I don't know, it might be like a little tall for you. I would not recommend this bike for a beginner to start on, especially if you're a short beginner. But I think also if you're much taller than me, like if you're near 6 foot, this bike will probably be too small for you. It's a compact bike. I don't know how to say it. The things together are close on it, even though your riding position is supposed to be more comfortable and relaxed on this, things are close together. So if you're too tall, stay, okay. If you're too tall, you just might not be comfortable at all on this bike. And if you're short and a newer rider, you probably won't find this the best bike to start on. I think the latest model that they did that looks like this one was the 2020. So if you want the most optimized MT-07 in this range, it's the 2020 that you're going to want to get. This is the 2019. The 2025 version looks, oh my God, so good. So good. Look at that guy's feet. They were so far out. He was going to just airing his crotch out at this point. I think this bike is probably one of the, if not the best bike Yamaha has ever made. It's pretty up there. The thing that I always enjoy about the MT-07 is how much torque there is down low, so that if you're only, going 35 miles an hour and that's like the kind of area you live in where that's your speed most of the time, you could actually have fun on it. There's so much torque down low, and I'm so glad to have found out that MT actually stands for Master of Torque in the Yamaha's lineup. Some new opinions I have since last time I reviewed this bike at my 2-year owner's review is that I've got to take it to the track three times. Yeah, three days at the track since then on this bike, and I had an absolute blast. I can't recommend this bike if you're a racer or you're actually trying to win money from racing, but if you're trying to have a good time at the track, I think I like this little bike. You can definitely configure it to be ready to race, just maybe not competitively. I didn't introduce my new backpack to you guys. He doesn't have a name, or she. It's a pink helmet, so maybe it's a she. But yeah, are you guys surprised by my 5-year review of the MT, or are you just pretty much what you expected? I'm hoping the audio sounds good on this because I do want to hopefully adopt this as my new setup. I much more prefer having this little microphone. Having this little mic is much easier. If you want to check out the Insta360 X5 and the Ace Pro 2, I'll leave links down to it below and a code as well so that you can get some free accessories if you decide to get a camera. Well, I guess I'll see you guys at the 10-year review.